G'day. This week I want to talk all about the Ranger. Now I've had it for 8 months, done 20,000 kilometres. There's a fair bit to know there. I also want to tell you about the towing ability of the Ranger, towing the bigger caravan, and also everything about weights to do your own calculations. Oh, it's so complicated, but I'm hopefully making it a bit easier for you. Anywho, let's go. Just before I lift the bonnet, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a Duratorque engine. It's a 3.2 litre, 5-cylinder, and it is a 6-speed automatic. Also under the bonnet there is a added fuel filter, good idea, catch can, 3-inch exhaust. It has a long-range fuel tank, so they took out the original and put that one in, 150 litres, get me a long way. And it also has upgraded springs on the back leaf springs. They put in an additional spring that gives me a better towing ability. So that's about that aspect. But wait, there's more. It's also got 18-inch wheels and 2-inch lift with Old Man Emu shockers. To make it go a little bit faster, instead of putting little GT stripes on the side, I put a bull bar, I put fog lamps, I made the front look as though it's a Raptor. What was I thinking? Also has nice little DRLs in that, and really big driving lights, very good for night driving. So inside the cabin you've got your basic entertainment system with a CD player. That gives you an idea how old it is. An upgrade on that would probably make a bit of a difference if you're into your music. I've also installed the UHF for listening to the trucks when I'm driving. I've got a dash cam. I've also got a TPMS, which is for a tyre monitor both for the car and the caravan. And I've got an ODB scanner, so that if it'll tell me all the things that are sort of happening in the engine, and I can reset some of the errors, which is handy. My driving style is basically, I drive between 85 and 95, slightly old man driving. Four-wheel drives are not for race, not my opinion anyway. And it's important you know that so that you can work out what sort of why I'm getting the fuel economy I'm getting. Now with fuel economy, when I first got the Ranger, I was beside myself with frustration because initially I was getting 19.5 litres per 100. Now if you're not in the know, that's really using a lot of fuel. In fact, I was making a joke that I might as well have had a 79 series, enjoyed the sound of the V8 and just driven along, because that's the sort of fuel consumption that you expect. However, about 3 weeks later I was cleaning just near the steering wheel and something fell on the ground, and it turned out that thing that fell was an iDrive. They make various different companies make all the sort of same thing, but basically it's a throttle controller. And it turned out the previous owner, maybe just to sell it because it would sell like a sports car, had it on ultimate race mode, full tilt, so that every time you touch the accelerator, oh, you go in the back of the seat like that. I had to fiddle around with it, and after about 3 weeks I managed to get it down to its sweet spot. So now most of the time I drive on ultimate 3, 4 or 5, and that gives me my best fuel economy. Doesn't put a strain on the car, and everything's happy. Just before I let the fuel consumption thing go, some people will quote their fuel consumption just what they see on the dashboard. Now the dashboard is basically there to make you feel all warm and cozy. I think the best way, and the way I do it, is I always go from fuel station to fuel station. That's how I record it. And I use an app called My Fuel, I think it's called. I'll look it up, I'll mention it anyway. My Fuel, something like that. Basically what I do is I go to it finds me the cheapest fuel. I then go to that service station, so long as there's no complications at the station, like a a petrol tank is filling up, etc. So I'll go there and I'll fill up. I'll record the kilometres that's on the dash and put that in, put in the amount of litres, etc. Then the little app calculates everything for me. So it gives me a running total at any point in time. I can say, well, I've been gone the last 4 months, I've used this much fuel, I've done this many kilometres. So it's a really handy little app. So yeah, you've got to go from Bowser to Bowser to get true fuel economy. Not preaching, that's if you want to get it right. Our last thing is important to know is about the comfort. Now, when I first got the Prado, the Ranger, I had a little back support that I used in the Prado just for really big, long distances, and I found it really, really great. But then when I got the Ranger, first time I thought, oh, it's a newer car, felt pretty firm, felt pretty good, and I had all sorts of adjustments. I got electric up and electric forward, electric down, and all these little dangles. So I thought, oh, don't worry about it, I threw it out. And as soon as I started doing distances, I realised, oh, bad mistake. I've since bought another one of those little sponge things that sits in my lower back, and after that now I'm fine. But before I had that, probably a distance of 200 kilometres, my back would ache so badly. So yeah, and all up, even without the padding, the Prado was to drive a lot more comfortable than the Ranger. But, you know, it's one of those things. A 3-part mini random tip. Need extra clothesline? Number 1, make certain you've got the shadow behind you, that's where the sun's coming. Number 2, measure your clothesline to its absolute fully stretched limit. Number 3, manoeuvre the car so it's just at the limit. Number 4, oh, it's a 4-part. Hang your clothesline, ready to go. And then start hanging. As the sun sets on this glorious middle of winter, feels like spring, day in northwestern Victoria, up near Swan Hill. Time to bring in the washing. Domestic duties are all done, and yeah, just enjoy the afternoon. Maybe even time for a little quiet drink. Here's a mini random tip. So if you're working on the car or the caravan, and if you're caravanning around Australia, you definitely will be, it's a good idea when you're getting things in and out of this thing, each time you finish with something, okay, I've got it, yeah, got the screw, out we go, close one side, make certain it's clipped, because the inevitable will happen at some stage. This will fall off and the whole lot will fall out on the ground, and it takes ages, and then you've got dirt and dust, and a wee bit frustrating. So make certain you lock one side. Done. And the last thing I want to talk about is reliability and breakdown service and insurance. Now, reliability, unfortunately, I think that the Ranger has got a bit of a bad rap because there's lots and lots of Rangers were sold. So if you've got a lot of units out on the road, there will be definitely times that people will complain. What I did notice on the forums, and that's what I'm doing myself, is if you're towing, I am servicing the car every 10,000 kilometres. If I'm not towing, I would do it every 15,000 kilometres. And normally cars are about 20,000. So by maintaining that oil and maintaining all the little bits and bobs you're supposed to have, I think that prevention is a great one. Yeah, that's my thing about reliability for Rangers. I must admit, and I was in the last town, I called into a mechanic, and he was just doomsday city. He said, oh, 150,000 kilometres on the clock, well, any day now should be blowing up. And I said, no, won't, will it? He said, yeah, that's pretty reliable in the sense that they will blow up at 150,000. So that was very, very negative of him. And as I say, you look after the car, service it, everything should be fine. So that's reliability. With breakdown service, please, I can't insist that I can't implore you more, but it's your thing. Get the absolute best you can on a breakdown service, whether you're in Victoria, Western Australia, Queensland, wherever. Get the best, because, you know, if you're doing a big trip around Australia, there may come the time that you'll need it. And, you know, they put you up for accommodation, they tow you long distances, they tow your car and your caravan if required. You know, you really want that. So, and the last thing is, what is it? Oh yeah, for car insurance. Look, I'm not suggesting who you go out, who you insure with. However, make certain they cover some of the real classic things. First up, if you break down in Simpson Desert, Tanami Desert, Gibb River Road, or up on the Cape, almost none of them will cover you. So most of the breakdown services there will charge from $8,000 up to $15,000. You can't get that back on your insurance, and that's before they've even repaired your car. So check, as I say, you can't really stop that. There is one company that you can do, it's called Club 4. Yeah, their insurance policy is not too bad, and you can pay little. They've got 3 little steps to cover you for those dastardly places. Yeah, so check that out. Check out whether there's any problems about you living in the caravan, because if you're deemed to be travelling 1 year, they may say, oh, hang on, you were living in the caravan. We don't insure for that. So watch out for that. Outback breakdown, just talked about that. Nice to have your lost keys, or yeah, if you lose your keys, it's pretty expensive to get them recut and also have someone come out and break into the car for you. So if you can get that in your policy, great. Also with the breakdown, the top breakdown service, they'll give you accommodation, so that not only are they taking your car and your caravan to the motor mechanics to be repaired, but they're also making certain that you've got somewhere to live, and give you some basic food money, I think, as well. Yeah, the relocation cost of your van and or car, you really want to be sure that's covered. Any rate, that's not all doom. It's not all doom and gloom, because travelling around Australia, it's absolutely a privilege and it's great fun. Okay, I'm going to attempt to explain weights on a caravan. Now, the tear weight is the weight of the caravan as if it was brand new, just driven out of the showroom. No water in it, no gas in the cylinders. That's the tear weight. The ATM is the allowable maximum unhitched caravan, totally loaded up. That's the ATM. Remember, it's unhitched. The GTM is the maximum allowed of weight, the maximum weight you can have in the caravan, totally, fully loaded, but hitched onto the car. And now we have the weight of the ute. So there's 3 important things on that. One is the curb weight. Now imagine you just received the Ranger and you're right ready to go. The curb weight is meant to be half a tank of fuel and 1 passenger. There's another theory that it's a full tank of fuel and no passengers. I'm not sure which is which, so you might want to check that. The next one is the GVM, which is the gross vehicle mass. That's the total weight of the ute, fully loaded, absolutely as much as you can get. The last one is called the GCM. That is the total weight of the caravan and the car joined up, and every conceivable thing that's in there. Includes fuel, gas, you name it. That's the GCM. Hope that helps. Okay, we've come inside to do some calculations, out with the laptop and the spreadsheet. Now, it's really important that I get this right, so apologies for having to use some cheat notes. Basically, say if you're towing a 3.5 tonne van, or that's your intention, and with the Ranger, the GCM, that's the total weight that you can get and drive on the road, the GCM is 6 tonne. Then what you've got to do is you've got to take 6 tonne minus the 3.5, because that's what you want to tow in your van, assuming it's 3.5 tonne fully loaded. Just take 6, take away 3.5, and you get 2.5. The curb weight of the Ranger is 2.24. So 2.5 minus 2.274 equals 226 kilograms. Now, that's as much stuff that you're allowed to put into the Ranger. Hey, I don't make the rules, I'm the messenger. Don't shoot me. Now, typical things that you might add to your Ranger or your car will be a canopy, bull bar, roof rack, fridge, winch, auxiliary battery, drawers, fridge slide, awning, max tracks, 20 litre of fuel, 20 litres of water, telescopic ladder, That's just to mention the ones that I can think of. So all of those can't weigh any more under this scenario more than 226 kilograms. Whew. I'd like to see you do that. Oh, I forgot to add the weight of a passenger. So another 80 to 100 kilograms for the passenger. Whoa, you're in a lot of trouble. Okay, I'm inside the cabin now. There's a couple of things I want to explain about the driving and the different techniques and so on and so forth. Just before I do though, I just want to mention, if you do have the Ranger and you are getting a caravan and you're ready to hit the road, probably a great idea, this is certainly what I did, was to fill the caravan up to as much stuff you're going to take, fill the Ranger or the car you've got up to as much as you're going to take. Now regarding the ute, you have three important things. And now regarding the ute, you have three important things. You have the curb weight. Now that's, what is the curb weight? Well, there you have it. Another video come to a screeching halt. Hopefully that did help you. I do apologise if it all got a bit mathematical and so on and so forth. But yeah, look, it really can be helpful if you know what the weights are and you pack and adjust it accordingly. Because you really, there's two things. You don't want to get caught out with insurance, and you don't want to get pulled over by the constabulary saying, oh, sorry mate, you're overweight and you're going to have to discard some of these things. Anywho, if you found the video useful, helpful and or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think the video is worth sharing, which hopefully you do, please do that. And until next time, this is Four Wheel Drive signing off.